From a misplaced porpoise to a dead mermaid, and even a real-life Sharknado unlike anything you've ever seen, here are 10 strange sea creatures discovered after tsunamis. The blue jellyfish. Jellyfish being blue isn't that big of a surprise. However, a blue button jellyfish turning up on the shores of New Jersey is quite the event. This particular jellyfish was discovered by a woman while she walked along the shore with her young son and 2 dogs. She spotted the odd jellyfish right away sitting in the sand near the water, and it was unlike any jellyfish that she had ever seen before. The blue button jellyfish is so blue it's almost unreal. In this instance, the jellyfish wasn't alone either. There were several of them all clustered together. According to a marine biologist and expert on jellyfish, this unique animal does not belong anywhere near New Jersey. Blue button jellyfish live down near Florida and in the tropics. She believes the weird creatures were likely pushed all the way to New Jersey after Hurricane Florence disturbed the waters. This is just another case of extreme weather pushing sea creatures far away from home all the way to distant shores. Alien fish. Imagine walking down the beach and finding that an alien had washed up on shore. That's exactly what happened to a resident of New Zealand back in 2018. Just minding their business and suddenly they discovered this bizarre creature. It was a skeleton with claws and what appeared to be wings. It also appeared to have very sharp fangs in its mouth. To make things even stranger, the alien fish was discovered after a large storm just passed by, and it was discovered in a very strange part of the beach, a part that's really rocky and has a large drop-off to the shore. That means it would have been impossible for the creature to swim to the point where it was found. In all likelihood, it was the storm that tossed it onto the beach, but the even stranger part is that nobody was really sure what the creature was at first. It was a complete mystery until a doctor identified the photo online as being a New Zealand rough skate, which is basically a flat shark with a skeleton made out of cartilage. These weird fish are often caught by commercial fishermen who then sell their wings to be eaten. And even though the creature looks like it has legs, it actually does not. What appear to be legs are actually claspers, which the fish uses for mating with a female. Out of all the creatures that have washed up on shore after a tsunami or a big storm, this is one of the strangest. Mystery dead thing. In Indonesia, a giant 50-foot blob washed up on shore in 2017 and nobody even knew what it was. This happened in Hulung Beach, and there's no denying that whatever the blob was, it was enormous. It was also very dead when it was found. The thing was just sitting near the shore in the water, which had turned red by the way, rotting away in a big slop of tissue and meat. Not only was the mystery creature extremely long, but it was also estimated to weigh at least 35 tons. That would make it over 4 times heavier than a standard elephant. What do you think it was? Let me know in the comments below. Locals initially identified the strange creature as a giant squid. However, an employee of the local Natural History Museum said that there are no records of giant squids anywhere near Indonesia. This means that it could have been a whale in an advanced state of decomposition, but it was so horribly decayed that nobody really knew for sure. Unfortunately, the creature decayed too fast and nobody was overly interested, and so it ended up being a mystery that was never solved. Whether the creature washed up after a storm out at sea or because of one of the many tsunamis constantly hitting Indonesia, it's really anyone's guess. Attack of the blobs. In 2016, California was under siege by an army of strange sea critters. This happened when thousands of weird pink blobs started showing up on Huntington Beach. According to the local reports, they were very squishy and kind of looked like giant fish eggs. They were basically gelatinous pods and nobody knew where they came from, and truth be told, they looked pretty disgusting. They almost looked like water balloons filled with plasma, like weird deformed jellyfish. An expert from the University of California, Irvine, finally came forward after photos of the blobs surfaced online and claimed that they were probably sea cucumbers. They were likely already on Huntington Beach, only hiding under the sand. But after a recent storm in the area shifted the sand and exposed the creatures, it seemed that they had washed up out of nowhere. Within just a few days, locals reported that the sea cucumbers had disappeared entirely. Another professor from the University of California, Irvine, later confirmed the creatures were indeed sea cucumbers and that they had indeed been under the sand the entire time, right under everyone's feet. Sea cucumbers are weird marine animals typically found on the bottom of the sea floor. An alien dock. The biggest displacement of sea life in recent memory happened after the destructive tsunami that hit Japan back in 2011. To this day, strange things are still being found washed up on shore from that powerful event. One of the weirdest things to be found was a dock that had washed ashore during a storm back in 2012. This happened at a beach in Newport, Oregon. And the dock did not contain just one creature, it actually had around 300 marine species, all of them attached to the dock. The object itself weighed around 188 tons, was completely coated in seaweed, and contained sea stars, barnacles, crabs, and mussels. After the dock was discovered, it was soon revealed that it actually came from a small city in Japan that was directly hit by the mega tsunami back in 2011. The dock had drifted through the Pacific Ocean for a full 15 months, gradually collecting all kinds of marine creatures before it eventually landed in Oregon. According to The Verge, this dock is only one of hundreds of different pieces of debris that have washed ashore all across Hawaii and the West Coast, ranging from Alaska to California. The 300 species attached to the dock are only some that have made it to the shores of the US after the tsunami. According to the US Fish and Wildlife Service, they estimate that the invasive species carried across the ocean and landing on the western shores cost the United States roughly $120 billion in damages every year. The freak fish. After the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, a lot of reports started coming in of all kinds of bizarre sea creatures washed up on shore. Literally dozens of photos appeared online of the most horrible creatures imaginable. However, some of these photos are a little less real than others. The problem was that after the tsunami, any weird or unusual photograph ended up being attributed to the natural disaster. Some of the fish, like the Blob fish, a weird eel-squid hybrid, and even a fish that looks like a mutated platypus, were all blamed on the single tsunami. And in fact, the exact same set of creepy photos resurfaced after the next big tsunami in 2011. The sad truth is that most of these images don't have anything to do with any tsunami. They are definitely weird and horrendous sea creatures, and almost all of them really do exist, but don't believe everything you see on the internet. Porpoise and rice paddy. How would you like to be swimming in the ocean one moment and then dumped in the middle of a rice paddy the next? That's exactly what happened to one unfortunate sea creature back in 2011. A poor porpoise was not just washed up on shore, it was literally thrown into a rice paddy very far inland in Japan. This happened after the deadly tsunami in 2011, but thankfully rescuers very quickly found the baby porpoise and brought it back to the ocean where it belonged. If you're wondering exactly how far the sea creature was tossed, it was found over 1 mile from the shore a full week after the disaster. This is according to the local Japanese news source in Sendai. The porpoise was actually found by someone just passing by. They were shocked to see that the animal was actually okay. It was literally just splashing around in the water of the rice paddy. Luckily, it was only about 3 feet long and managed to survive the trip back to the ocean. A typical finless porpoise will grow to be around 5 feet long. These animals are native to most of coastal Asia. Sharknado. As if sharks and storms weren't scary enough already, now we have a real-life Sharknado. This happened in New South Wales in Australia. After a brutal cyclone caused tremendous damage with its 120 miles per hour winds, a killer shark was found sitting on the beach completely displaced. Imagine if you had been standing on that beach when the giant shark was thrown through the air by the cyclone. You would literally have been a victim of a Sharknado. The cyclone picked up the shark, threw it through the air, and it landed in the sand. But it could have definitely landed straight on someone's head. Luckily it didn't. The shark didn't actually survive the ordeal, which sucks for the poor guy, but good thing nobody was killed by the giant storm. Imagine if that shark had landed on someone's house or car. I just keep thinking about all the possibilities. Lost mermaid. Here is one that will give you nightmares. A man named Paul Jones posted a series of photographs from Norfolk Beach in the United Kingdom a while ago of what appeared to be a mermaid dead and rotten washed up on the shore. The creature in the photos had a very small tail and was definitely the ugliest mermaid you have ever seen in your life. It looked like a burn victim with a fin. People on social media were quick to point out the impossibility of the photographs. Remember, this was in 2016, before the Earth was flat. In any case, Paul Jones was likely the creator of the mermaid and was likely the one who put it there. It probably had nothing to do with a storm or a tsunami. Jones is actually a creator of models and has made a lot of fish-themed art pieces. But still, imagine finding that on your own during a nice romantic walk on the beach. You'd have a heart attack. Giant oarfish. Last on the list is the giant oarfish. The giant oarfish is the harbinger of death and destruction, supposedly a warning sign of an incoming earthquake and tsunami. In 2017, a massive oarfish washed up on shore in the Philippines, sparking panic and concern that there would be an earthquake in the coming days. Of course, this is not just paranoia. Giant oarfish are often found right before a big natural disaster. One was found in the Philippines on a beach in Agusan del Norte, just days before a monstrous earthquake devastated the island in February of 2017, just weeks before this newest story. It's not only in the Philippines that they believe the legend of the oarfish either. The Japanese have long believed that oarfish are actually messengers from the sea god's palace warning people of imminent disaster, and there might actually be something to this legend. The thing is that oarfish live around 3,000 feet under the ocean and are one of the biggest fish in the entire world, but they very rarely make it to the surface. According to a report from Daily Mail, many scientists think that oarfish actually wash ashore because of the strong currents that precede earthquakes. And you know what happens when an earthquake strikes out at sea? A massive and destructive tsunami follows. Which of these sea creatures is the most disturbing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.